So I just logged in as my administrator user because the user we created, we did not assign them permission to manage ACM certificates. For ACM certificate, I think we can move back to the group. And under the group, we go to permissions. And then under permissions, you're going to add one additional permission. And this one will be AWS Certificate Manager full access. We need this user to be able to create a certificate, delete it, and also update it. So we'll just give them full access. You can view the policy content here, and this is it. If you need to have more control, you can decide to assign these permissions with some conditions manually within the custom policy. Once you select our policy, just attach it like that, and you can see it's listed here. You can log out of the admin user, and let's switch to our project user and use him to generate the ACM certificate. We've logged in as our project user. Okay, it's Fargate for this tutorial. Make sure you log in as the user you used. And the next step is to set up our TLS certificate using AWS Certificate Manager. And to do that, we need to navigate to the ACM console. We need this, the Certificate Manager. So just open it in a new tab. And here you can list certificates. From the left, you can see we don't have any certificates. So we need to request. And here we cannot list certificate authorities. So you can ignore that error unless it prevents us from creating the certificate. You can request a public certificate, click on next. Then this is where you need to be careful. So make sure you are using the correct domain. For this tutorial, I'm using my domain. You should be able to use your own domain. So for my domain, I created a hosted zone in Route 53 because I decided to use Route 53 for this tutorial. So this is the hosted zone that we are using, and it doesn't have any records apart from the NS records and the SOA records. These are the ones that are created by default when you create a hosted zone. So what you are going to do, you are going to create an ACM certificate for this domain. So just copy your domain name or your subdomain name, then come to the certificate manager. For the fully qualified domain, we're going to use this. So we're just going to capture every substring that comes before this subdomain like this, and then we'll enable DNS validation. We won't be using email validation. Then for the key, you might decide to use any of these, but for this tutorial, we'll go with the default. Depending on your use case, you can choose any. Then you can add project tags and then click request. So the certificate has been successfully requested, and this is the ID of the certificate. You can view it, and here you can see we need to create some records for our certificate to be validated. Here it's pending validation under domains. So we need to go ahead and create this CNAME record within our DNS provider to be able to validate the certificate. So here, if you're using Route 53, you have two options. You can use this button here to create the records in Route 53 automatically because it's within AWS, or you can decide to create this CNAME directly in the Route 53 hosted zone that we are using, or in the other DNS provider that we are using. For our case, we'll just do it manually. Copy the CNAME name, come here, then we create a record depending on your DNS provider. Then here, search for CNAME and click on it, select it, add the record name, which will be this. And since you already have the subdomain part with a dot, if you're using Route 53, make sure you remove this subdomain part to avoid duplication together with the full stop, so that you just leave these random digits only. Once you do that, for the value, come back to the certificate manager where you've opened the certificate, and then copy the CNAME value, come back to Route 53 and paste it in here. Once you do that, click on create records. Down here, you can see the record has been added correctly. When you select it, you can see the record name and also the record value here, which match these two. So you'll have to wait for a few minutes and reload the certificate page to see if it's still in pending status. And here under status, you can see it's issued. And also here under domains, you can see our wildcard domain has been validated successfully. With this, we need to copy this ARN. So just click here to copy the ARN to your clipboard, and then let's navigate back to our Terraform setup where we'll modify our demo applications before we install them.